So Lina O'Connor, the first question for you is, what is the big idea that has fueled the merger with Tender Greens and Takaya and your vision of the future?
That is a great question. And so much of that has continued to come into focus over the past, I think, 5 months since we haven't spoken post-merger. And the big idea is really not that big at all. It's really going back to basics. I think the industry as a whole, and One Table is no exception to that, got a little bit of a free pass from our consumers over the past year and a half because of what we've been facing through the COVID pandemic. And we're really focused on the customer experience right now. How do we meet evolving consumer needs? And we found that it's really basic. Make sure that there's order accuracy. Make sure that hot food is hot, cold food is cold. Make sure that people feel good when they walk in the restaurant. And especially in this omni-channel environment, it's more challenging than ever to create that optimal experience. And that's our focus. It's not these, big ideas of grandeur. It's really, how do we go back to basics and make sure that people are excited about their daily experience? And particularly for brands like Tender Greens and Takaya, which have always been a daily use. They're experiential to some degree, but they're a high frequency concept. Both are high frequency concepts. And the more that we can focus on creating a great experience for everyone, regardless of which channel they choose to access our product by, I think that's how we're gonna really wow ourselves and wow our consumers and blow the industry away.
Okay, that's great. That's a great bite. So now one thing I want to ask you about this, and understanding the merger, since we talked about it, so many companies are trying to build portfolio companies now. I mean, they're looking at some of these really big companies that are being pulled together, looking for efficiency, looking for, to capitalize on shared infrastructure and all those things, which is an element of this, right? I mean, that's fair to say.
Sure.
But
Sure.
in bringing together brands the way that we're seeing companies do, this one is the only one that really has seemed to look very carefully at the brands themselves to bring a marriage that works on so many levels. It's not just, we want to have a taco concept and we want to have this concept and we want to pull these together, and to explain a little bit about the thinking behind it and why that's important.
I'm so excited to talk about that. We really view One Table as a platform where people and future concepts perhaps will want to come home. We don't just want to create efficiencies. We want to create a culture of creativity, a culture of innovation, and a culture of support where we can, again, in the future, perhaps add on additional brands and people feel good about being part of it. I think, culturally speaking, both brands had such a cult following both within the organization and externally. And that was part of the strategy between bringing them together. Is it's rare to find brands where people feel so strongly about them in really every aspect of the operation. And so, one of the things I was thinking about in advance of our conversation is the process of creating that. So, while we had a strong culture at Tender Greens and a strong culture at Takaya, we wanted to bring something together that was uniquely One Table. And that's a process. It's been 5 months. And the way I think about it is when you sign a lease, you don't start cooking right away, right? You have to draw the plans, you have to break ground, you do the plumbing, you do the electrical, you lay the foundation. So there's a long process between deciding to do something, coming together, and actually it coming to fruition. And so we're making huge strides in that journey so that eventually we can be, I like to say the platform of choice where people are clamoring, if they're a 6-unit brand or a 10-unit brand or a 20-unit brand, and they're saying, I can't go at it alone. I'd really love to be part of One Table. That would be success for us. That we're not just back office support. We're really something bigger that people want to be a part of.